Adolf Hitler, arguably the most well-known historical leader of all time. Many Western society may consider him as an evil and inhuman man. He brought up World War II. 3% of the world population was killed, and the Jewish communities were devastated. Hello everyone, I'm Suki. My topic of presentation today is, was Adolf Hitler a great leader? Until today, most people may firmly believe that Adolf Hitler was one of the absolute worst leaders of our time. But I beg to differ. Let's listen to my following presentation and maybe you might change your mind. I would say that the world would be different today if not for one very important leader in Germany, who is Adolf Hitler. He had many impact on the history of the world in 20th century than any other political figure. Hitler was a charismatic and influential leader who was able to attract a lot of people. He persuaded the citizens by telling them exactly what they wanted to hear. His public speeches gained many followers, attention, and money. He had many beliefs, even though not every of them was good. He also had the plans to make those beliefs become true. In spite of his reputation, Adolf Hitler was indeed a great leader who left a few important legacies to the world. After Germany losing World War I, Germany was forced by the Allies to sign the Treaty of Versailles. Germany had to take the full responsibility for the war's devastation, and it crushed its already struggling economy. Most Germans were unemployed, and the money inflation made their life harder. Political instability further made it hard to help his people. And then in 1929, the Great Depression happened. It led to American banks withdrawing their loans from Germany, and the already struggling economy collapsed overnight. Most Germans were in distress, and they desperately need someone to rescue them from the nightmare. However, most mainstream parties proved unable to handle the crisis. At this point, Adolf Hitler stood up by making promises of returning Germany's former greatness and glory. Hence, some of the frustrated public flocked to Nazis, and then in 1933, he was appointed as the Chancellor of Germany. By the time Adolf Hitler became the Chancellor, 1 in 3 Germans were unemployed, with the unemployment rate hitting 6.1 million. In order to reduce the unemployment rate, Adolf Hitler immediately implemented a few laws such as Unemployment Relief Action, construction of Autobahn, and the National Labour Service. The core value of Nazi Party was none shall starve or freeze. In the Unemployment Relief Action, new hospitals and the Autobahn were built. The Autobahn is a superhighway in Germany that Adolf Hitler had built manually, so more workers were needed for a longer period of time. Meanwhile, in the National Labour Service, all men in Germany aged from 18 to 25 went to a 6-month training camp before becoming a soldier for at least 2 years. They were paid with pocket monies, and then by 1939, there were over 1 million of soldiers in German army. With the help of Hitler, the unemployment rate in Germany dropped from 6.1 million in 1933 to less than 1 million in 1939. Germany's economy was finally getting better. From here, we can see that Adolf Hitler always put his country and people first, which is the most crucial characteristic of a great leader. As the country leader, Hitler also implemented cultural and social reform. He provided family allowances, marriage loans, and also child subsidies to help Germans set up homes and build family. He also abolished taxes on cars. Furthermore, Hitler ensured that the workers were treated well by funding the worker welfare programs and providing basic amenities in the factories. Last but not least, he also encouraged healthy youth activities such as sports to help build his people's self-esteem. While cleaning up the mess of the Great Depression made, Adolf Hitler helped to bring back the Germans' pride for their country. even though his result from being the leader of Germany wasn't given the best result. But his genius use of persuasion, especially propaganda, helped Germany to almost conquer the whole Europe, even though they just were lost in World War I. In our society today, there are so many politicians who are not trustworthy, as they give fake promises and didn't stick to their own words after winning election and gaining power. However, back in the day, Adolf Hitler promised his people what they wanted, and he accomplished it, which is another important trait of a great leader. Many people would argue and say that it was Adolf Hitler who brought up World War II and caused so many deaths. During World War II, he ordered his people to begin a genocide. It was a well-known catastrophe so-called Holocaust. Around 11 million people were killed. 6 million were Jews and the others were Jehovah's Witnesses, homosexual and disabled people. However, even though the war had left the world in a great destruction, the world learned its lesson and created United Nations, which has regulations against genocide. United Nations was created in 1945, which was used to keep the peace around the world. Originally, there was a League of Nations created after World War I, but obviously they don't have enough power to stop Hitler. Moreover, after World War II, 2 new conventions were added into the Geneva Convention, which stated that prisoners of the wars and civilians are to get proper and humane treatment, while attacks on civilians' hospitals are prohibited. Hence, the Adolf Hitler's legacy impacted the world a lot. Due to his impact, many new precautions were made to prevent any inevitable evil occurrence from happening again. In conclusion, many people would argue and say that Adolf Hitler was a horrible leader, but they forget that it was Adolf Hitler who helped Germany a lot during its time of need. I would believe that Hitler was a great leader, not because that he did great things, just simply that he did all great leaders should do for his people and country. He paved the way for himself. He influenced the public to follow his choice movement, and he had some multiple achievements. I have to admit that Adolf Hitler did have some flaws and sins, but remember, not every human being is perfect. Thank you.